You stupid fool. Did you really think you gonna hit me? Huh? Bam, bam, bam. Over.
You know, I always say on this channel, pay-per-view fights should actually be free. And now the day has come where I'm about to hook you up with an app where you can watch all your pay-per-view events, boxing, UFC, etc. for free. I want to introduce Block TV, the best internet streaming television app out there. They provide over 3,600 channels, including HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and Starz. They have a massive video on demand library with over 40,000 of the new release movies and the latest TV series. And it also includes DVR. So you're getting all of this for $34.99 a month. And once again, that includes free pay-per-view. So this one right here is a no-brainer, guys, because back in Las Vegas, I was paying damn near $200 a month for my cable. Those days are long gone now. So to get the app, make sure you guys go over to getblocktv.com and put in my promo code and get 30% off your first month. You also get a free month for every friend you refer. The promo code is DBNation. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Man, oh man. So shortly following Paulie Malignaggi, another one comes out of the closet. Tyson Fury. You know, it's sad to say this, but moments like this in history, with George Floyd and all of the police brutality, everything that's going on right now, unfortunately, these are necessary evils to show people's true colors. I mean, seriously, ever since this George Floyd murder has become the biggest news in the whole wide world, we've been finding out a lot about people we thought were our friends, athletes that we supported, movie stars, co-workers, etc., etc., etc. So before I get deep into that point, let me go ahead, rewind a little bit and surmise everything that took place between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Now, Tyson Fury is upset because of Anthony Joshua attending a Black Lives Matter protest and what Anthony Joshua said at this protest. But before I get into all of that, I want to put this in chronological order because it's more important to first show you guys what Tyson Fury said before this whole protest with Anthony Joshua, what he said about the George Floyd murder. Now, he was on Piers Morgan's show. And for those of you guys who don't know who Piers Morgan is, he's someone that has been using his platform, a white Brit. He's been using all of his platforms to fight against racism. Now, of course, I'm not saying that's all he does, but whenever a story like this emerges, he's one of the first people to talk about it with transparency, be honest about what's going on, which is why I have a lot of admiration for him because he has to deal with so many racists trying to deter him from addressing racism. And this is why you see these quotes like silence is violence. This is why you always hear me say, someone who ignores a situation or doesn't say anything is no different than the overt racist. So let's get into what Tyson Fury said. And I warn you guys, this is very disappointing to hear from Tyson Fury. So Tyson is asked to give his take on the whole George Floyd, the whole Black Lives Matter protest, etc., etc., etc. And this is what he says, quote, "It's not just black people who suffer racism. I think travelers are on the most acceptable form of racism in Britain and in the world at the moment. It's still acceptable to be racist to travelers. Nothing ever gets done about it. I'm a white male and I've suffered racism in 2020 as a white person because I'm a traveler. Even today, you go into pubs and bars and restaurants and it may say on the door, we reserve the right to not allow travelers in. No travelers allowed." End quote. And if you're asking a question, no, your ears did not just deceive you. This man, Tyson Fury, he just compared an unarmed man getting murdered by a police officer, someone whose job is to protect us. He compared that situation to a traveler. Tyson Fury sounds exactly like Paulie Malignaggi. Something else he sounds like is the whole All Lives Matter organization. I'm white and I suffered racism as well. Oh, really, Tyson? You had a cop put his knee on your neck to where you couldn't breathe while you were face down handcuffed? Really? You dealt with that too, Tyson? Oh, no, I didn't deal with that. I dealt with something way worse than that. I've dealt with traveler racism. This shit is crazy, man. And then he has the nerve to say, why isn't anyone talking about that? Why isn't anyone marching or protesting about travelers being mistreated? Guys, I'm telling you right now, for any black person that personally knows Tyson Fury or Paulie Malignaggi, I'm giving you some good advice. If you ever have a loved one that passes away, especially if they die from police brutality, don't ever invite Tyson Fury or Paulie to your funeral, and certainly don't let them speak. Can you imagine what a Paulie or a Tyson would say at the funeral? Imagine them saying these type of things at the funeral, right? Imagine Tyson Fury telling everybody at the funeral, why are you guys so concerned about this man dying? I mean, sure, he was my friend, but do you guys know I have to deal with discrimination against travelers? Why isn't anyone in the room crying about that? Why aren't you guys feeling my pain? Why do we have to cry about this man laying in the coffin over here? Nobody gonna cry about what I gotta deal with when I get on the plane? When I'm ready to go to the pub and get my party on? This is straight out of the All Lives Matter playbook. This is what's so funny. You always have racist people that try to basically defend racism by making it seem like they can relate to what you're going through without showing any empathy. Do you know how ass backwards, how hypocritical that is? Usually when you have people that can relate to what George Floyd's family is going through, or Ahmaud Arbery and Shannon Taylor, the list just goes on and on. Usually when people can relate, they show compassion for the victim. They show compassion for the race, knowing that this is what they're dealing with. They empathize with them, right? So if someone like Paulie Malignaggi, who says, hey, well, what about Italians dealing with the RICO law? That was racist towards us, so I'm not gonna spend any time, being concerned about George Floyd or Arbery. They're just trying to corner the market, and I'm not gonna fall for it. This is exactly what Paulie said. He said those people protesting are just playing the race card. And now you have Tyson Fury saying, oh, well, us white people, we deal with racism too. What about how travelers are treated? Yada, yada, yada. Well, if Paulie and Tyson, if they feel that they're dealing with the same things that black people are dealing with, why aren't you showing any type of compassion towards these black people that are being killed by police officers? Unarmed black people. And this is something else I want to really clear up. Because racist people, they always want to deflect, distract, they want to change the subject in the hopes that everyone will start to ignore the main problem. So they create these distractions. Instead of saying justice for George Floyd, they don't say that. They just say, well, more white people die by police than blacks do, right? But they purposely leave out the most important fact, which is more armed white people get killed than unarmed black people, which that would only make common sense when the country is 75% white and only about 12% of the population is black. So once again, this is who Tyson Fury is. And Tyson Fury had the audacity to be upset with what Anthony Joshua said at a Black Lives Matter protest. So before I get even deeper on Tyson Fury, let me go ahead and quote exactly what Anthony Joshua said at this protest. AJ said, the virus has been declared a pandemic. It is out of control. And I'm not talking about COVID-19. The virus I'm referring to is called racism. We need to speak out. We need to be united. And then AJ, he continued by saying, abstain from spending your money in their shops and economies and invest in black-owned businesses. So clearly when he said abstain spending money in their shops, he's talking about the racist organizations, the companies that are ran by racists. That's no different than me telling black people, do not buy pizza at Papa John's because the owner of Papa John's is a racist, which he is a racist. Now, for those of you guys who didn't know this, the founder of Papa John, because he's a racist, he actually had to step down after numerous racial statements that he had made. So hypothetically, if you only had Papa John's in your neighborhood and a black-owned pizza company, go to the black-owned pizza company. Don't give your money to Papa John's. That's the point AJ was making. So of course, Tyson Fury, he didn't like the fact that AJ said this. And Tyson said, let's just say I'm not pushing knives in or pushing anybody when they're down. But if it had been me who said it, don't shop at any black-owned stores or any Asian-owned stores or anything, or don't buy from their business, then I'd have been crucified like Jesus Christ. I'll just say that. And Tyson Fury, he said that it was BS what Anthony Joshua said. Once again, Tyson Fury is always trying to make it about him. What about me? What about me? What if I said this? It's much worse for me. The irony that this whole George Floyd murder has brought so many people of color across the globe together, have brought them all together united. Some protests have more white people there than blacks. And you have someone like Tyson Fury, who has one of the largest platforms in the sport of boxing. Not only does he not show up, not saying he had to show up, that's something that has to be from your heart. It can't just be someone telling you. But not only does he not show up at any of these protests to say, we need to fight against systemic racism and justice for George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, however you want to word it. He didn't say he has never said justice for George Floyd. He never said, I'm George Floyd. He never said, we need to be united. We need to fight against racism, Black Lives Matter, or however he wanted to word it. I mean, Paulie is no different, but Paulie said racial oppression doesn't exist. It's made up. It's exaggerated. And then he said the whole police brutality is just corruption. It's not racism. It's just corruption. So even if you truly believe that, why don't you say, let's fight police corruption? Let's get justice for George Floyd and fight corruption. How come you didn't say that? One of the many things that Tyson Fury and Paulie have in common is neither one of them addressed George Floyd. Neither one of them expressed any type of condolences towards George Floyd's family, towards all the unarmed black people that have been dying. They didn't show any type of empathy or compassion. I mean, I cannot believe Tyson Fury had the nerve to say, if I would have said that, I would have been crucified like Jesus Christ. So ironic that he mentions Jesus Christ, because it was only a couple years back that Tyson Fury made some extreme anti-Semitic comments. Matter of fact, the comments were so offensive that Vladimir Klitschko himself, he said, that's something that Hitler would say. Matter of fact, let me quote exactly what Vladimir had to say about Tyson Fury's comments. I was shocked at the statements about women, the gay community, and when he got to Jewish people, he sounded like Hitler. The man is an imbecile, seriously. You cannot put it all together as a representation of the sport of boxing. He's an imbecile champion. Especially in this crazy world when we can see all this going on, we don't need someone having this stage and bringing hate to Jewish people. I can't accept. As I said, he sounds like Hitler. I cannot accept it, and I don't accept. End quote. And guys, by way of contrast, Vladimir Klitschko, he actually did speak on George Floyd's death. And he gave a great speech, which is the very next video that I'm gonna upload right after this. So once again, this racial pandemic or virus, as Anthony Joshua would say, is revealing who people are. Speaking of Vladimir Klitschko comparing Tyson Fury to Hitler, that's pretty ironic because I never mentioned this. I'm gonna mention a couple things that I've never mentioned before, but I never mentioned that right after Tyson Fury, he beat Deontay Wilder and he was doing his post-fight interview. Shout out to Young Pharaoh. He has it on his channel. I don't remember what video it was, but he has the clip on his channel if you guys can't just find it in the post-fight interviews on YouTube. As Tyson Fury says, thank Jesus, and he starts giving thanks, you see some of his team members in the back, they throw up a Hitler salute. It's caught on camera. It's caught on camera. It's not Photoshop. They throw up a Hitler salute. Now, if you think that's wild, check this out. Something else I never told anybody about, I'm telling you guys right now. a story that Ellie Setback shared with me years ago when we were somewhere covering a fight. I don't even remember what state we were in, but we were both covering a fight. And we were talking about boxing, and I was telling him, because I didn't know this about Tyson back then, but I was telling him, I said, man, I like Tyson, man. I like his personality. He's good for the sport. He's funny. You know, I'm talking about all of this stuff. And I just remember Ellie looked at me and he said, man, I'm gonna tell you something. I know a guy, a black guy. He told me, now I forget where he told me this took place, but long story short, he told me that Tyson Fury was with his crew, his whole little team, his whole little entourage, and they had seen some black guy. And Tyson's team, they started calling the black dude racial slurs. And then they end up jumping the black guy while calling him racial slurs. This is a story that a black dude told Ellie Setback. So while I was sitting there praising Tyson Fury, talking about how much I like him, Ellie drops this on me. And it's crazy because I always tell you the truth will always come to light. And now Tyson Fury is coming out of the closet. Now, speaking of Ellie, for those of you guys who don't know, he's Jewish. I don't know how much of a coincidence this is, but it was only a couple fights back when Tyson Fury, he did a media workout and he seen Ellie at the media workout and he immediately had Ellie kicked out of the media workout as soon as he seen him. And Tyson has made it very clear he's not a big fan of Jews. So it's just amazing that this man would have the nerve to say, if I would say something like that, I would be crucified. So why weren't you crucified when you said that about Jews? There's no way they're gonna crucify Tyson Fury. In fact, this is gonna make the racist people probably support him even more now. If you don't believe me, watch after I upload this video and watch how many people in the comment section try to defend Tyson Fury. They don't care about him being racist, just like people in America don't care that Donald Trump is a racist. People didn't vote for Donald Trump because of his politics. They voted for him because he was racist like they were, and they could identify with him. Because he was an unapologetic racist. Because they have been feeling guilty about being racist their whole life. And then all of a sudden, a racist man, he comes out and he says, hey man, you ain't gotta hide being racist. Be racist and be proud of it. And that's why they love Donald Trump. Now, I'm not saying every single Trump supporter is a racist, but we clearly know there is a huge percentage. There's a huge chunk of Trump supporters that are. And if you don't believe me, just go on YouTube and you'll see all the videos. So once again, my point will be proven in the comment section. You're gonna see all these racist people come out of nowhere trying to defend racist acts, which shows you how ignorant they are because they don't even realize they're exposing themselves in the process. With that being said, I'm gonna leave you guys with this quote. You know, I've heard a lot of great speeches when it comes to these Black Lives Matter protests, but this was one of the best quotes, and this was from a white man protesting at a Black Lives Matter protest in Australia. And he simply said this is not about black versus white. This is black and white versus racism. So my point is, for all the white people that are not racist, you don't have to feel guilty when we're talking about the racist people. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
Are you ready to take your striking game to the next level? Then you've got to get the focus ball. Dramatically improved footwork, timing, reflex, hand-eye coordination, head movement, and striking IQ. Lightweight and extremely portable, so you can train every time, everywhere with the focus ball.